Hello everyone, myself Suchi S. I am going to explain about Proterozoic Eon. The Proterozoic is a geological eon spanning the time interval from 2500 to 541 million years ago. It is the most recent part of the Precambrian supereon. It is also the longest eon of the Earth's geologic time scale, and it is subdivided into three geologic eras from oldest to youngest: the Paleoproterozoic, Mesoproterozoic, and the Neoproterozoic. The Proterozoic covers the time from the appearance of oxygen in Earth's atmosphere to just before the proliferation of complex life, such as trilobites or corals, on the Earth. The name Proterozoic combines two forms of ultimately Greek origin: protero meaning former, earlier, and zoic of life. The well-identified events of this eon were the transition to an oxygenated atmosphere during the Paleoproterozoic, several glaciations which produced the hypothesized snowball Earth during the Cryogenian period in the late Neoproterozoic era, and the Ediacaran period 635 to 541 MA, which is characterized by the evolution of abundant soft-bodied multicellular organisms and provides us with the first obvious fossil evidence of life on Earth. Thank you.
Hi ma'am, myself Swati. My topic is the Proterozoic record. The geological record of the Proterozoic eon is more complete than that for the preceding Archean eon. In contrast to the deep water deposits of the Archean, the Proterozoic features many strata that were laid down in extensive shallow epicontinental seas. Furthermore, many of those rocks are less metamorphosed than they are Archean ones, and many are unaltered. Studies of these rocks have shown that the eon continued the massive continental accretion that had begun late in the Archean eon. The Proterozoic eon also featured the first definitive supercontinent cycles and wholly modern mountain building activities. There is evidence that the first knowledge glaciations occurred during the Proterozoic. The first began shortly after the beginning of the Proterozoic eon, and of at least four during the Neoproterozoic era at the end of the Proterozoic eon, possibly climaxing with the hypothesized snowball earth of the Stratton and Marinan glaciations. Thank you.
Hello, ma'am. Myself Sahana. My topic is accumulation of oxygen. One of the most important events of the Proterozoic was accumulation of oxygen in the Earth's atmosphere. Through oxygen is believed had been released photosynthesis as bark of an ancient times. It could build up any significant degree until a chemical strings, unorganized sulfur and iron had been filled up. Until 2.3 billion ago, oxygen was probably only 1% to 2% of its current level. Branded iron formation, which provides the most word iron ore, were also prominent chemicals linked. Their accumulation ceased after 1.9 billion years ago, either due to increase of oxygen or more through mixing of ancient water clumps. Red beds, which are colored by the hematite, increased by atmosphere oxygen after 2 billion years ago. They are not found in our old rocks. The oxygen buildup was probably due to two factors: one, filling the chemical strings, and another, carbon burnol, which sequenced organized compounds that would have otherwise been oxidized by the atmosphere. Thank you, ma'am.
Hi ma'am, my name is Sarika. Today I'll be explaining about the subduction process. The Proterozoic Eon was a very tectonically active period in the Earth's history. The late Archean Eon to early Proterozoic Eon corresponds to a period of increasing crustal recycling, suggesting subduction. Evidence for this increased subduction activity comes from the evidence of old granite originating mostly after 2.6 Ga. The occurrence ecoclite. It is a type of metamorphic rock created by high pressure greater than 1 GPa. Is explained using a model that incorporates subduction. The lack of eclogites that date to the archeon eon suggests the condition at the time did not favor the formation of high grade metamorphism and therefore did not achieve the same levels of subduction was occurring in the Proterozoic eon. As a result, remelting basaltic ocean crust due to subduction. The cores of the first continents grew large enough to withstand the crustal. The long-term tectonic stability of those cratons is why we need continental crust, ranking up to a few billion years in the age. It is believed that 43% of modern continental crust was formed in the Proterozoic, 39% formed in Archean, and only 18% in the Phaneroic. Studies by Coniday 2000 at Reno L at 2004 suggest that crust production happened episodically by isotopically calculating the ages of Proterozoic granitoids. It was determined that were only several episodes of rapid increase in continental crust production. The reason for this pulses is unknown, but they seem to have decreased.
My name is Chinmay and I am explaining about tectonic history. Evidence of collision and drifting between continental continents rising. The questions as to what exactly were the moments of the Archean cartons composing Proterozoic continents. Paleomagnetic and geochronological dating mechanisms have allowed the disappearing of Precambrian Superior tectonics. It is known that the tectonic processes of the Proterozoic eon resemble greatly the evidence of tectonic activity, such as organic belt or ophiolite complexes we see today. Hence, most of the geologists would conclude that the Earth was active at that time. It is also commonly accepted that during the Precambrian and the Earth went through several supercontinent breakup and rebuilding success. Colombia was dominant in the early mid Proterozoic, and not much is known about continental assemblage before then. There are few plausible models that explain tectonics of the early Earth prior to the formation of Colombia. But the current most possible hypothesis is that prior to Colombia, there were only a few independent cartons scattered around the Earth, not necessarily a supercontinent like Rodinia or Colombia.
Myself Dakshata Jain DP. My topic is Proterozoic eon. Subtopic is stromatolites. The first advanced single-celled eukaryotes and multicellular life preserved as the Francivilion biota roughly coincides with the start of the accumulation of free oxygen. This may have been due to an increase in the oxidized nitrates that eukaryotes use as opposite to cyanobacteria. It was also during the Proterozoic that the first symbiotic relationship between mitochondria found in nearly all eukaryotes and chloroplasts found in plants and some protists only, and their host evolved. The blossoming of eukaryotes such as arthrids did not preclude the expansion of cyanobacteria. In fact, stromatolites reaches their greatest abundance and diversity during the Proterozoic, peaking roughly 1200 million years ago. The earliest fossil possessing features typical of fungi date to the Paleoproterozoic era. Some 2400 million years ago, these multicellular benthic organisms has filamentous structure capable of anastomosis. Classically, the boundary between the Proterozoic and the Phanerozoic eons was set at the base of the Cambrian period, when the first fossil of animals, including trilobites and archaeopteryx, as well as the animal-like Caviosperia, appeared in the second half of the 20th century. A number of fossil forms have been found in Proterozoic rocks, but the upper boundary of the Proterozoic has remained fixed at the base of the Cambrian, which is currently placed at 541 MA. Thank you.